All right, so today is January 10th of 2024. And I don't really have a whole lot again. Just been plugging away at a few odds and ends. But I've got a few things I wanted to mention that have been going on. Here I bought myself a new wrench. Big adjustable wrench, like 24-inch. You know, the interesting thing about this was, and I found this on Amazon. It's an Olympia Tools brand. $41 or $42, something like that, which I thought was an awfully good price. After I bought it, ordered it, I went back and looked at the price, and it was over $100. Not quite sure how Amazon comes about their pricing and whatnot, but yeah, I'm glad I bought it when I did. I've got other, like 15-inch, but I needed something if I'm going to ever take the prop on it off. I'm going to need a wrench big enough to get on that nut. So there you go. Also, here I ordered another case of gloves, 1,000 gloves. Now these nitrile gloves have gotten really expensive. I don't know. You go to the stores and look at them, they're, I don't know, anywhere from maybe $14 to $17 for a box of 100 of them. Now these aren't the thickest gloves in the world. I think they're 3 mil. I don't see where it says on here, but I think that's what they are. But anyway, $42 I think this was, $43 maybe, for 1,000 of them, 10 boxes of 100. Yeah, so that's a really good deal. And that again was an Amazon buy. So yeah, good deal there. A couple other things I wanted to mention is I've been talking a little bit about all these little bumps I've got. And this sheet is got its last coat of epoxy on before it goes on, and you can see maybe the roughness, the little bumps in there. And this wasn't happening earlier on. I wasn't having this problem early on, and so I was trying to figure out what was causing the problem, and I think I've got it figured out. These foam rollers that I'm using, they must have changed the composition of them. There must have been some change in either the composition of the foam or some other aspect of them changed, because I believe all these little bumps are little pieces of foam coming off the rollers. Yeah, so I ordered some new rollers, some epoxy specific rollers. So we'll see how that goes. But what I did was, when I was putting this on, I was seeing little bumps in it, even as I was applying it. So I got in there and I started picking at them a little bit to see what they were, what was causing them. And lo and behold, it looked like it was little pieces of foam. And due to the large number of them on here, that's got to be the case. So anyway, so I think we've got that figured out, and we should have that remedied. Another thing I wanted to mention too was the shaft. When I went to put the shaft into the keel, guess what? The distance from the back of the keel to the building here is about 14 feet, and the shaft is like 14 feet 3 inches long. So what do? I took this stuff out, and you can see right above there's a little hole in the... I drilled a hole through the side of the building. It was either that or move the boat. And the building is easier to patch than moving the boat. So I drilled a hole in the boat, or in the building, and to get the shaft in. As you can see here, I got another piece on down here, and this one, like I said, is ready to go. So today I'll probably clean this one and sand it. What I'm doing now is you need to get the Amine blush off this epoxy before you put another coat of epoxy on there. And it's actually easier to do that now. And I have to do that between coats of epoxy, but I have to do it. But I'm doing it now again before I put it up on the boat too. So what I did was I bought these towels here. These are called Huck towels. Technically they're a medical towel. They're used in operations. So they're relatively lint-free and very absorbent. And sterile, of course, when you buy them for that purpose. Now, these weren't actually made for medical use, but they're the same type of towel. So what I do is I saturate these in water, and I'm squirting it on the wringing it out basically on the plywood or on the layer of epoxy to get it wet. And then I'm using these Scotch-Brite pads to scrub the surface. I just found that just water and in a towel or a cloth or whatever wasn't quite doing the trick. And it leaves a lot of residue on the surface then. And so then I wipe it up, wring this out, and then wipe it up with that. And then I go over it with these towels. And these are supposed to be bar towels, although they aren't quite as good a quality as bar towels. But I bought a bunch of both of these. And then I can just throw these in the washing machine every so often. I got a big bucket here that I've been putting them in. That green bucket down there. Yeah, that's almost full of towels now. But anyway, I'll just wash those every so often because I got enough I can go a month or whatever without. And getting this Amine blush cleaned up off of here. And then I also use a clean towel and alcohol to do a final cleaning before I put the next coating on here. Now I won't use the alcohol on this layer here because this is not going to be anything done to it for quite a while, but because it's going to go on the boat, and then we'll get everything taped up, all the seams taped up and whatnot, and the holes filled, and then we'll put one last coat of epoxy on, and then probably an epoxy primer of some sort will go on there as well. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing on these to get them ready to put on. And these towels, I tried to find cheap hand towels, you know, in some of the stores, and just nobody was selling really cheap hand towels. So I said, screw it. And I bought a bunch of these. Not sure which one would work best, you know, so I bought both the Huck towels and these bar towels. But they both seem to have a pretty good function, you know, a little different, but they both work well. I bought some of those red rags, you know, the ones you buy in the stores, and the shop towels, and the really nasty cheap ones, and that's what they are. They're really nasty and really cheap. So yeah, I wasn't too happy with those. I washed them, and yeah, they pretty much fell apart in the washing machine. So I think those cheap red shop towels are going to be single use, and then we'll throw them away. And they aren't very expensive either, but if they don't work, they're way overpriced. And in here, I've been doing a little work trying to get some of the surface prepped here. And I started out using Bondo, just auto body filler and some of these holes and whatnot. And it works okay. But it was leaving a little softer product after it cured, even after 24 hours. I seem to remember in the past that stuff cured a little faster and a little harder, so I don't know. So down here now, this is a different product, and we'll see how it works. Way more expensive, but of course it's an epoxy product, and it's Total Boat's Total Fair, I think they call it, which is a fairing compound, which is supposed to be easier to sand. So we'll see. I put this on yesterday. I'm just doing some tests here. This Bondo that I put on before, like I said, it wasn't sanding real well. It was plugging up my sandpaper even after 24 hours. So I don't know. I guess if this Total Fair works all right, we can use it. I don't know, it doesn't seem just overly hard either. I don't know how this stuff's going to sand. Oops, sorry. And that's the whole point of this stuff. It's supposed to be, well, stronger but easier sanding too. Yeah, that might be alright. But yeah, so I'm just doing some tests here to see what I think is going to be the best for doing some of this interior work. And obviously being an interior work, it doesn't need to be anything, you know, overly strong, but I don't know. You know, like in here I used regular thickened epoxy, and I may wind up just going back to that for everything. I don't know. This Total Fair is, like I said, ridiculously expensive, and I don't know if it's going to be any better than anything else. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't have much light in here, but I was really disappointed. They put plastic over the top of those buckets, but the plastic wasn't sealed to the edges, so the plastic kind of fell in there, and then just everything just stuck to the plastic, and I probably lost several ounces of product due to that plastic being stuck in there. But the plastic wasn't, like I said, sealed to the edges, so it, yeah, that was kind of silly. What's the sense of putting that plastic in there if you're just gonna let it float around in there, and then the stuff moves on top of it and underneath of it, and just makes a sticky, horrible mess is all it does. But anyway, that's where we are up here. Just a little bit of putz around up here. And now we had that storm system that went across the whole country and left us some snow, although it wasn't nearly as bad as what they had predicted snow-wise. So earlier today, I got my loader out and moved snow, but now they're talking about some really cold weather behind it, like 18 below Fahrenheit at night, in highs of like 4 below for the daily high. So when it gets that cold, see, there's snow out here, but it's not just too bad. I mean, I've had it way worse. Haven't we, Archie? We've had a lot worse snow. Yeah. But this cold now coming in, I don't know. That cold, one of the problems I get when it gets that cold out here is I get a lot of condensation up on the steel on the top of the roof. There just isn't enough insulation in that ceiling to keep the warm air from touching the outer top roof surface of steel. That condenses then and creates frost, and then when the sun comes out the next day, it warms up the roof a little bit, and that melts and drips down in here, which makes a mess. Of course, when it gets that cold out, it's also gets expensive to heat the building here too, so I may shut things down here for a few days, turn the heat down, you know, lower, not freezing, below freezing, but lower, and see what happens with this cold streak that's coming. They generally don't last that terribly long. Are you going outside? Huh? Go ahead. No? Huh? Yes or no? Well, there Archie's in. But anyway, that's what's been going on around here. Nothing major, but just what I've been doing here in the last week or so. So that'll be my update for the 10th of January of 2024.